Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We got our 330 Ci back in the shop. If you look over, we got the M3 Vert here. Happy birthday to me. I did actually just pick this up yesterday as a little birthday to myself. We had a little video walk around not too long ago discussing what it kind of needs. We'll do a re-intro probably for the next one, but this week we're focusing on my Autocross 330 Ci. I'm actually missing a race today because I don't have anything to drive. So the M3 is not on the road yet. This is still broken. Sold the silver car and the red Vert, both 330 Ci. So they're all gone. So time to tackle this thing. And what I've been waiting on is right here. So if you remember, this has got a pretty bad knocking sound from the transmission area. Lots of really not nice sounds. I fired up here for you just so you can hear what I was hearing. That noise right there. That is not good. Doesn't quite matter if clutch is in or out. Clutch is in right now. Still kind of doing it. It's worse with the clutch out, but yeah, something's really not happy. It might just be something in the clutch in the bell housing area. I've been putting this off because, well, we didn't have a transmission to put back in, so I didn't really want to make this not movable. So thank you to a friend on the E46 owners page who offered this to me at a great price. Been having a real tough time trying to find a replacement transmission, just a transmission, without buying an entire manual swap kit. And while it actually worked out, I did buy an entire manual swap kit. So we got the transmission, ZF5 speed, the drive shaft with a solid center support bearing. We've got a E34 M5 clutch setup, single mass flywheel, throw bearing, an eBay chassis mount shifter, pedals, all the little goodies that you need to do a swap. None of which you really need except for the transmission, but he gave me a great price. And he was also super baller. He lives about 4.5 hours away. He brought it down and delivered just for some gas money. So that was really awesome. Saved me, you know, a whole day of driving up there and back. And then he got to come down here, hang out for a little bit, go see some friends that live locally to him. So it all worked out really well. And that's one of the things I love about this community is everyone trying to help each other out and, you know, enjoy their vehicles. So I also picked up a brand new transmission jack from Hobo Freight. These were on sale, 89 bucks with a member discount. So that should make getting this out a lot easier. So first thing we need to do is get this thing in the air. It's very similar to the last video with the 330 Ci where we took the diff out, although we don't need to take the diff out on this, but we do need to take the exhaust down. We need to take the center heat shields down, the drive shaft down, and then it's, you know, pretty much just unbolt the transmission and get it out. So let me get this up in the air. I'm probably just gonna pop the exhaust out real quick and the heat shields, just get things started. You guys have seen it. I'll bring you along for some highlights, but I'm gonna go ahead and get wrenching. All right, so before we take this out, I want to drain the fluid again. Wanted to see if it's filled up with water. It's been sitting outside for a couple of weeks since I kind of last drained this. And so we'll take the fill plug out first, see if it gushes out. That will tell us if it filled up with water again. And then we'll drain it. Want to see if the fluid that I put in it filled up with a bunch of aluminum again. So here, let's, it's just 17 mil on the fill on the right-hand side. Hopefully she don't come gushing. The other day when I took this off, it literally shot all the way across. Made a huge mess. So let's see. Nope. Okay, good. So it didn't fill up with water sitting. So we don't know where all that extra fluid came from. Oh. Same 17 mil on the bottom. looks just kind of like gear oil. I really only have idled it, drove it down, you know, maybe 3 or 4 miles since putting fluid in it, so I don't expect it to be too crazy. But all right, well, here's what came out. There's definitely a little bit of aluminum there, but you know, that could be leftovers from the last fluid change. It doesn't look exceptionally watery, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour this into a clear jug, let it sit and see if it separates. I don't see any chunks, so that's always a positive. The next thing to do under there, got to take that support bracket out so we can undo the drive shaft. Then we can lower the transmission down, start working on the bell housing bolts. Just a little look at the fluid that came out of there. Definitely not great. That's not a margarita I want to drink. We'll have to see if that separates out, if any water settles to the bottom or not. It's going to take a while. It might be a day or so before we see that. But got the drive shaft out. I'll bring you underneath, I'll show you where we're at. All right, so you see we got our drive shaft out. I actually fully removed it, even from the diff. Sorry for the glare. You don't have to. I mean, you could just drop it from the center support and from here let it dangle, but it just gets it out of the way. It's only a couple extra bolts to get that drive shaft off at the diff. So now we've got our cross member out. We got 4 13s on either side and then 2 on the mounts themselves. And so now we need to start dropping the trans down. We need to disconnect this shifter. It could probably just come out with the trans. We need to take our slave cylinder off. There's just 2 10s to drop that down. Then there's a whole bunch of bell housing bolts, and you need all the extensions to get to the top bell housing bolts. So if this has been in there for a bit and it's seen salt, you're gonna have a fun time, I'll tell you that. Take your time, soak with penetrating oil. I had this out a year ago, so it should come out okay. I'll have to kind of see how it goes. But let me get wrenching. There's not a lot of room for you guys to see, I apologize, but I'll show you some stuff as I go along. Pretty much it's just getting those bell housing bolts, get the trans jack under here and drop it out. All right guys, well, the trans is out. It wasn't too bad. I did have to drop it down with the whole shifter in place. It wasn't a big deal. So I'm really not seeing any smoking gun. Everything's still in place, but it all kind of looks okay. I mean, there's a little bit of shaft play here, but nothing forward and back, spinning free. And I checked the other trans, it's got about the same input shaft play, so I don't think that's our issue. It's our throwout bearing here. It feels still pretty good. Unfortunately, you need a press to pull this apart, and that really isn't going to do much because you pretty much can't get the bearings for these things. It does look like the source of some of our external leak was these détentes that I did. I didn't put RTV on them when I did them. Probably should have. Maybe that's where the water came in. I don't know, or maybe I just simply overfilled it last time. Let's see, our water or our gear oil here is still just gear oil. So maybe it was just over full, but there was certainly a lot of aluminum in that transmission. Well, let's get the clutch off and see what we see there. Okay guys, so this is the clutch out of the car itself. This is an eBay FX brand, I believe, stage 2, whatever that means. But it's supposed to be stiffer than OEM, and it definitely is. It felt good. I went out and broke it in by going to an autocross event the day after I installed it. It is what it is, but it's been in there a little over a year. This is how I'm gonna remove everything, is how it came off of the car. And we have a smoking gun. Anyway, out here, clutch dust, that's pretty normal. Pick this up. All right, take a look at the friction surface. Looks fine. I don't see any cracks, no burns or anything like that. Doesn't sound loose or anything, no bent fingers. Our clutch disc, one of the things it could have been was broken springs. Those all look fine. The disc itself on this side looks good, plenty of meat. Flop it over this side again, nothing out of the ordinary until I lift this. This is the pilot bearing that's supposed to be in the crankshaft, but that's not all. And you might ask, what's behind door number 2? All right, so here's our solid mass flywheel. Again, doesn't look bad. A couple little heat marks, but nothing crazy. I mean, there's only maybe 4,000 miles on it. Looks fine. I really don't see any issues until I did this. If you can't tell, all of the flywheel bolts are loose. I mean, I can't move them by hand, but it's loose on the actual flywheel. So, yeah, that's our noise. It was our clutch after all. Well, not the clutch per se, but clutch area, which that's kind of where it sounded from. I don't know why the trans seemed over full, what the aluminum's from. You know, I think I'm just gonna throw that one back in. I think I'm gonna order another clutch because I'm in here. I'm not gonna mess around with this. I'll get 2 new daytime bushing seals, and we'll keep that other transmission around. We should be able to sell that as a kit, make our money back, and just keep it as a spare just in case we do have other problems. But this definitely is no bueno. I don't know why they would have loosened all up like that. I did torque them, and not just goon tight. I torqued them to spec. But the other good news is it's dry. I put a rear main seal in it when I did this clutch, so I'm gonna go ahead and just see if these. Oh yeah, I can get this one by hand. Oh, well, at least I'm happy that I found. I'm happy that I found a reason for the noise, and the noise changing with clutch in and out was probably the load on the flywheel itself, taking up some of the slack, taking up slack as you revved it. Good news, the indestructible ZF appears to be indestructible. So yeah, I'm gonna pause here. I gotta order a couple parts. I'm gonna put a new throwout bearing in a new pilot bearing. We're gonna get probably a new clutch disc and flywheel. They're cheap, so I'll bring you back when we get some parts. Well, it's been a minute, probably 2 weeks since I last worked on this. Last little bit, we found that the flywheel bolts were all loose. I inspected the flywheel. It all looks good. It wasn't all wallered out, so that's good. The threads on the crank end were good. So we cleaned up the flywheel bolts, put some new Loctite on it, torqued to spec, and we've got our clutch disc and pressure plate back on, and we're pretty much ready to go ahead and stab the trans back in. Here you can see I got it all set up on the trans jack. We'll see how that works. Really hoping that I won't need to heave-ho that off my chest. I'm hoping this will work pretty well. I just got to throw the new throwout bearing on. I did pick up a new pilot bearing and throwout bearing. Thank you, FCP warranty. I put new ones in last year. Didn't think it was worth trying to reuse them. So I'm gonna go ahead and struggle with this to get that hopefully back in and bolted up. Hopefully it goes in all right. So I'll bring it back when we get a little progress. Well, everybody, we got the transmission back in. That trans jack did really come in handy. It took a couple different tries to get it lined up the right way, but we got her in. We're all bolted up. This is one of those things where you have to have everything lined up perfectly or it just won't go. So my recommendation is just take your time, you know, watch your gap between the bell housing and the block, make sure you're even side to side, up and down, and once you get all the stars aligned, it'll slide right into place. And the last 3/4 of an inch or so is always a bear. Really aren't supposed to use the bolts to draw it up, but I have. I've done it a few times. You just got to take your time. There's a big one on this side, on the passenger side, right by the manifolds. And on this side, you can see the big one up there. use those to start to draw it in. Then I throw one in the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see this one or not. But the ones right at the top of the bell housing, want to use that to just draw the top in as well. I really can't see it. There's just no room to get a camera in there, but just go very slowly. Make sure it's even, up and down, side to side. Take your time drawing it in, and then you're good to go. Then you can finish up. There's 3 small E-Torques on the bottom, the 2 starter bolts. You throw the slave cylinder back in. There's just 1 wire that goes to the other side for the reverse switch. And we're pretty much done. So I don't know if you're thinking what I'm thinking, but I mean, we have everything together-ish. I kind of want to start this up before we put the drive shaft in. And see if I kind of want to start this up just to see, is that noise gone before we put the drive shaft and everything else in, because at this point it's pretty easy to take the trans back out if that's the case. So I'm thinking, you know, let's put our power wire back on. We got the starter back in place. We're gonna have to do any amateur welding with it. It's just held in by a 19. In case you didn't know, this is the jump point, and then right here in the drug bin is the negative point. It's open header, so it's gonna be loud as heck. I do have a clutch pedal, fuel pumpage. I don't hear it knocking. Just that before, I could hear that popping around. Okay, that's enough. So yeah, I don't hear it rattling around. It was definitely the flywheel bolts. So it seems like that the trans is actually okay. So, oof, God, that stinks. Open header, no cats, that stinks. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna finish buttoning this thing back up, and this thing should be back on the road. Well guys, we got her all back together. All 4 tires are back on the ground where they belong. It's not a bad looking garage right here. Got most everything picked up, still got to put some of this stuff away. But yeah, she's down on the ground. Haven't cheated, haven't started it yet. So I thought, you know, what better way to finish the vid than to get in it, take it for a quick little drive, just make sure that the noise is gone. I'm 99.9% sure that we are good. So let's see, start her up. Yep, no more rattle. Alright, well let's get her out on the road and see what she wants to do. Alright, we're cruising along, getting up to temp. Reminded that I need to recharge the AC a little bit. About once a year, she needs a little top off. I'm not sure where the leak is, but take care of that another time. I'm hearing a little squeal. A little bit, yep, see, like that. Not sure what that is. It's definitely coming from clutch area, so sounds like throw up bearing maybe. Maybe we just pretend we didn't hear it, it'll go away. Probably not. Oh, she's stinky. I did get a bunch of crap on the exhaust, so man, there's still something making noise. So this is the first time I've driven it since I bought the M3, and I mean, they're just 2 different animals. Like, this one feels torquier down low, but that's also partly I don't drive the M3 in sport. The throttle's just way too touchy, but this just seems a little more responsive down low, even with the 293 rear end. Definitely RPMs, each gear are a lot different. 362 in the M3 and a 293 in this. First 5 gears are about the same between the two. Group M intake, man. Oh my gosh, I love it. Wish there was a little bit more noise on the M3, but not a ton. I don't know what that noise is. I'll have to put it back up in the air another day and see if we can tell if it's coming from trans or from the clutch itself. But something's rubbing. But, well guys, I think I'm going to call this one here. I'm going to say it's done even though it's not. I have a feeling we're going to have to rip this trans out again and put the other 5-speed in it. I'll probably just order a whole new clutch kit. Just be done with it. No reused parts. And hopefully that'll take care of all our noises. I mean, it's not doing the crazy knocking, but I don't know what that high-pitched squeal noise is. So again, everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate all the feedback. You know, make sure to like the video. It helps the algorithm out a bit. Gets me seen by a few more people. If you like the video, you know, hit the subscribe button to see more projects like this. There's a ton on the back burner that we got to get through. So appreciate you all, and we will see you in the next one.